Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. So we do a daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 21st of August. The first important news, that is RBI new pilot program for frictionless credit. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, that is India ASEAN decision on review of the FTN goods. Third, that is panel call for uniformity in tenures and selection procedures for the process. Second last, that is Russia's first lunar mission crashes into moon. Like after India has launched Chandrayaan-3, Russia has made an attempt which was an unsuccessful attempt. Now the last is pilot fatigue in India, a wake-up call for the airline. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And before I begin the session, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do hit that like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is RBI new pilot program for frictionless credit, something important for General Studies paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So recently RBI has come up with some announcement and a program. So RBI has commenced a pilot program endeavoring to elevate the part of feasibility and functionality of the public tech platform for the frictionless credit. Credit in India is a problem for the rural areas specifically, and the part of the channelization that is required make it more troublesome, right? So the suggested platform would strive to enable the delivery of frictionless credit by facilitating seamless flow of required digital informations to the lenders. Now about public tech platform for the frictionless credit, what exactly does this mean? So it is an end-to-end digital platform which will have an open architecture, open applications program interface, जिसे API भी कहते हैं, and standard to which all banks can connect in a play and plug mode, right? So this is a new state-of-art technology that will be utilized for the public tech platform for a frictionless credit. Now, the Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub, which is a wholly subsidiary of the Central Bank of India, has actually developed this platform. So something directly relevant for the prelims examination. Now, what is frictionless credit? I think by the term or by its word, it is commonsensical understood. Frictionless means credit that is borrowing approach that seeks to streamline the lending process for the consumer, right? So without any troublesome, the process will proceed further. Unlike the traditional credit system where individual need to go through extensive paperwork, the credit check that is mandatorily required, lengthy approval procedures are there. Now the frictionless credit process promise for a smoother and faster experience to the lenders. So this is how the things will work. Now, what is the platform for? I mean, who are the target people going to be benefited with this initiative? So digital delivery of credit, either it is a delivery of credit loan by digital means or any loan will presided by the process of a scrutiny that is for the credit appraisal, right? The process attempt to evaluate and the part of accordingly predict the prospective borrowers, right? जो भी prospective borrowers होंगे either for the part of repayment of credit, loan or adhering to the credit agreement. Now pre-dispersal की अगर बात करें, this process is again important since bank would in turn determine the part of interest income and impact on the balance sheet, right? Currently अगर इस तरह के program की बात करें, ultimately it will help farmers, small lenders, और ये ऐसी स्कीम है जो अभी रिसेंटली दैट इज ऑन गोइंग इन द स्टेट ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश, तमिलनाडु, कर्नाटका, उत्तर प्रदेश एंड महाराष्ट्र. It provided for a doorstep disbursement of a loan in assisted of self-services mode without any paperwork. Now, extending loan to the different sector, RBI new pilot for the frictionless credit with the participations from the credit bank platform would extend its focus towards the dairy loan, इवन MSME जो लोन है, माइक्रो स्मॉल एंड मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस को भी लोन मिलेगी. without any collateral, and personal loan and home loan that will be eligible for this part. It is expected to link services like Aadhaar eKYC, Aadhaar e-signing, land records, onboard state government, satellite data, PAN validations, and even the part of account aggregations by the account aggregators, milk pouring, and other data from the cooperatives, house property, etc. that is required. So everything possibly would be integrated to provide the benefit to the concerned individual. Now, significance of this pilot program. First and foremost, this project will ensure that the credit is extended to the larger set of the borrowers with a good credit history, right? Ultimately, good credit history will fetch you loan from different vertical also, but यहाँ पे credit history के अलावा और भी ऐसे कुछ criteria होंगे that will be judged. The borrowers too will be benefited from the resulting lower cost for accessing their capital that would translate into productive investment spending. Now, as per the media reports, RBI surveys indicated that the processing of the farm loans would also take 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks for a cost of about 6% of the loan total value. And in all, the lending platform would bring the reductions in the cost, quicker disbursement, and scalability of the part of the loan that will be disbursed. Now, moving ahead, the other news. India's ASEAN decision on review of FTA and goods, something very important that will help not only India but all other ASEAN member as well. Important for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So a decision which was long pending, and even India and the ASEAN member has initiated for the review of existing FTA, that is the free trade agreement between the goods, on the goods basically, between India and 10 other ASEAN bloc, that is scheduled to be held during the meeting in Indonesia, right? The meeting is being held on the sideline of ongoing meeting of the economic minister meeting of the ASEAN. Now, before I proceed further with the details, you need to know basics about ASEAN. Its economy is highly competitive with an GDP of 2.6 trillion in 2014, 7th world largest in the world, 3rd in Asia. And even if you see the trade, it has the value is 1 trillion. This is for 2014, right? And the FDI was close to 136 billion. Connectivity की अगर बात करें 62 million के आसपास connectivity है. This call for ASEAN tagline is one vision, one identity, and one community. Now, one thing that is important is the members. Who are the member country? The member country include Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, Myanmar, and Laos. So this become important. Many a times a question can be directly framed from the members of the ASEAN. Now, India's call for review. India has asked for the review of the agreement with aims to eliminate the barrier and misuse of ASEAN as a trade and good and agreement, which come into effect in January 1st, 2010. An Indian delegation is already there for the deliberations. India has asked for the review of agreement with an aim to eliminate and even जो misuse हो रही है ASEAN के trade agreements में उसको देखा जाए, and they need to have review part so that ultimately all members are equally benefited. The agenda come up discussions and the decision recently that India's ASEAN economic ministerial meeting was taken. So something agreement that will help both member countries and India including itself, so that the part of the goods trade which is ongoing can have a further surplus. The focus of the review exercise की अगर बात करें, there is some priority area that has been highlighted. First is the implementation issue, जो भी policy बनेगी. So the policy implementation become very important. Rule of origin will be significant part. Now, verification process and release of consignments, custom procedures, liberalizations of trade in goods, and sharing and exchange of trade data, so that each and every member countries could identify the potential and the loopholes. Now, moving ahead, panel called for uniformity in tenors and the selection process, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of education and human resources. Now, एक department related committee ने, basically the department related committee was related to the transport, tourism and culture. Its report was tabled. The report titled is Functionality or the Functioning of a National Academy and the Part of the Cultural Institutions, जो कि evaluate करती है, उन्होंने evaluate किया है कल्चर मिनिस्ट्री के कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लाइक इंदिरा गांधी नेशनल सेंटर फॉर आर्ट, ललित कला एकेडमी एंड साहित्य कला एकेडमी एंड नेशनल स्कूल ऑफ ड्रामा, all these institutions are based in Delhi, and the committee has called for uniformity in the part of tenure and the selection procedures. The committee noted that as of now, the chairman of the Sahit Academy is elected, right? And the process for the appointment of the head of the various institutions and their governing body as well as their tenure vary. I mean, किसी के appointment elections होती हैं, किसी के appointment direct government करती है. For example, the term of the office for the governing council for Lalit Kala Academy is 3 years, while अगर कला केंद्र फाउंडेशंस की बात करें तो यहाँ पे 10 साल के लिए. दिस इज अगेन डिस्पैरिटी. सो द यूनिफॉर्मिटी हैज बिन कॉल अपॉन बाय द पार्लियामेंट. जो डिपार्टमेंट स्टैंडिंग कमिटी उन्होंने इस चीज पे ध्यान आकर्षित किया. The lack of guidelines is also one of the important things that has been highlighted. The committee noted that there is no fixed guideline with regards to the number of member governing council and the number of meeting that has to be held. So there's no defined or set patterns in this regard. Also, there's no people representing in the part of governing council for the academy committee that have actually come up in the report. और lack of uniformity की बात की गई है, that is not desired. It has led to the administrative and organization inconsistencies in various academics and the part of the institutions. कुछ recommendations की अगर बात करें, स्टैंडिंग कमिटी जो ट्रांसपोर्ट, टूरिज्म और कल्चर की, उन्होंने रेकमेंड किया दैट गवर्नमेंट नीड टू फॉर्मुलेट अ पॉलिसी और एक यूनिफॉर्मिटी बनाने की जरूरत है. जितने भी बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, वेदर द टेन्योर ऑफ चेयरमैन और प्रेसिडेंट इज कंसर्न, द रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ इलेक्शन इज कंसर्न, इट शुड बी यूनिफॉर्म. और जो ड्यूरेशंस है मेंबर की वो भी यूनिफॉर्म होनी चाहिए. It said that if required, the legislation of the governing of the academy or the institution may amend to ensure that uniformity is put in place. और कमेटी ने ये भी सजेस्ट किया that one MP can be included in the governing board as to ensure that these are working in the line on parameters of All India Institute of Medical Sciences. And यहाँ पे working के लिए भी बहुत सारे important reforms लाई गई है, so the best practices can be taken. It recommends that one MP to be included from the government bodies to provide the ground report also. Now moving ahead, Russia's first lunar mission crashes into the moon, something important for General Studies Paper 3, Science and Technology, Development of New Technology. Now just to remind you, ISRO ने recently Chandrayaan 3 launch किया था and we have made successful attempt. Every Indian need to be proud for that, and very soon the lander would be reaching out to the moon and it will be landing. There are a lot of things that is ongoing. We have made substantial progress. Step by step जो success मिली थी वो मिली है. Now in this article, I mean in this news, I'll be discussing more on the part of Russia's efforts. So Russia की first moon mission after 47 years, they have come up with the Loon 25 years craft प्राप्त हुई थी. They have the part of the news that has come up that the mission is smashed in the moon, right? So in a statement, Roscosmos, that is a state space corporation, has said that it has lost contact with the craft shortly after the problem occurred as the craft was centered into the pre-landing orbit, right? Now these are the official images that was released. On August 19, in accordance with the Luna 25 flight program, an impulse was provided to form a pre-landing elliptical orbit. Now, कुछ बात करें basics की. The pilotless spacecraft was aiming to land in the south pole area of the moon, where scientists believe that there could be an important reserve for forest, water, and precious element. It has been expected that this will be there on August 21. India's Chandrayaan 3 mission launched on July 14. It's also hoping to land the moon's south pole area. Now, Russia's warning influence in this space. So what was there? The setback was there for the prestigious mission, highlighting Russia's influence in the space explorations since the heyday of the Cold War. अगर बात करें Cold War के टाइम में, तो रशिया ने काफ़ी हद तक प्रोग्रेस की थी स्पेस के सेक्टर में. Like during that era, Russia has achieved significant milestone in achieving and piloting the path of Sputnik 1 Earth orbital in 1957. You can see, I mean, that time India was just, when 10 years down the line where independence was there, we cannot even think of this such thing, right? Soviet Union के कॉस्मेट में Yuri Gagarin, the first human to venture into part in the space in 1961. Now Russia was competing with India as Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft was launched, but we have made substantial progress and Russia's mission was a failure. Additionally, Russia, in the broader rivalry with China and in part of the United States, with both poses ambitions for the lunar explorations plan. Now, moving ahead with the editorial of the day, pilot fatigue in India, a wake up call for the airline. Something important for Gender Studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementation. It's an important topic, it's a concerning topic. You can expect a question in mains examination, if not directly, a related questions can be framed. तो ये एक important angle है, आपको इस पे ज़रूर अपने ओपिनियन और पॉइंट्स बना के रखने चाहिए. मेनी टाइम्स यूपीएससी टेंड टू आस्क द क्वेश्चंस रिलेटेड टू, और नहीं भी तो कम से कम आप इथिक्स में से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस इन जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 4 कैन बी फ्री. Now what I'll be discussing under this editorial, the part of the article focuses on the pilot fatigue and the concern. We'll look into the important issues like recent crew incident, fatigue and sleep deprivation, different categories of staff that is working with the aviation sector, and the conclusion part. Now, if you look way back close to 1976, Indian airline Caravel flight from Mumbai to Madras crashed shortly after it took off from Bombay, and while attempting an emerging landing, killed all 95 passengers on board. Earlier, Mumbai was known as Bombay. Right at that time, this incident has reported, and it was something very shocking. Now, among the last word that the captain said, the commander has actually identified that what was the reason. So, in a cockpit voice recorder, it was said that he was feeling sleepy. Right, that might be possibly the ultimate reason for the crash. Right, and this image is not actually the incident of that 1976. I have just taken some image to give you an idea how does the crash look like. Right. Now, he had done an early morning going. This is what I'm talking about, this particular captain. And he was coming back to another flight without taking any proper rest, which has ultimately led to fatigue and sleeping. He was feeling sleepy, losing out his control, and the flight ultimately got crashed. Now, recent crew incidents की अगर बात करें, I mean, we have seen a lot of problems that is emerging. So in the past few weeks, there have been report of some Indian pilot who passed away due to the cardiac arrest, right? बहुत सारे heart attack से भी मौतें हुई हैं. Out of them, the pilot of Indian origin was there in the West Asia. Another pilot employed in the major airlines who collapsed in the part of boarding in Nagpur. The third incident involved in the part of Latin America, where from Miami to Santiago, Chile, who collapsed in the flight were co-piloted handed over the aircraft, right? And 2 years ago, another Indian pilot passed away as he stepped out of the stimulator after the training pilot. So stress, fatigue, lack of sleepiness, cardiac arrest, a lot of lifestyle problem is creating problem for our pilot, our crew members. Now, fatigue and sleep deprivations की अगर बात करें, the most important questions at present is, do that airline management and aviation regulator understand in the problem and even recognize the fact that fatigue and sleep deprivation is something very concerning, is something that call for life of many people, right? So क्या सिर्फ our profits and passengers number are only important in airline business? Do we have ethical practice? तो यहाँ पे ethics में general studies paper 4 से related काफी सवाल आपसे पूछे जा सकते हैं. India has a worst number set of the flight rule. I mean, अगर बात करें ड्यूटी टाइम लिमिटेशंस की, रेस्ट पीरियड की, इंडिया की कंपैरेटिवली काफ़ी पुअर है with compared to the developed countries, right? The people who drafted the implementation of this rule have no clue about the risk involved. Analysis of the incident involving the highly experienced crew identified this cause to be the problem, where restlessness, something has impacted the part of flight operations, right? Sleep deprivation and micro sleep conditions between 5 to 15 सेकेंड, अगर 5 से 15 सेकेंड की भी लैग होती है तो बहुत सारे इंसिडेंट होने के चांसेस हो सकते हैं. Subject to urgent matter of the address before the part of the precious lives are lost, we need to take care of it. Now, different category of staffs हैं, operate करते हैं aviation sector में. The pilots are on the same work category in the airline staff, including the management, but they have a good set of system for their leave that is working on. Ground staffs की बात करें, they get 2 days off and 52 weeks, right? In addition, they have public holiday and annual leave. Flying crew members की बात करें, they got only 1 day और वीकली ऑफ और एनुअल लीव्स उनको मिलती है. Safe airlines worldwide, they give 2 days off, right, and proper rest to the flight and even to the pilot, so that they can unwind their problems and even unwind their fatigue that is there. Now, DGCA, the Director General of Civil Aviation Regulations, has laid down absolute minimum. यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ों पे ध्यान नहीं दी गई है. Only profit, and even you know that Air India is no more with us. They have been operating with the part of Tata's. तो बहुत ज़्यादा कोई ऐसी गवर्नमेंट पार्ट की कंपनी एयरलाइन ऑपरेट नहीं कर रही इंडिया में. एवरीथिंग इज रेगुलेटेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, बट वी नीड टू थिंक ऑफ दिस सीरियसली. Nothing prevent airline from the providing more rest, and if interest of the safety is there, human factor and flight crew need to be addressed at the earliest. Now, if you look at the conclusion, I mean, what are the conclusion part that we can figure it out? Pilot fatigue is a crucial concern for the aviation safety worldwide, including India. But in India, we do not have a proper system also. So DGCA has to look into this matter. And DGCA in India, unlike the part of the aviation regulator bodies in other countries, it is important to manage the pilot fatigue, required to have the mitigation measures, and even to ensure कि जो side effect है work fatigue के वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा हो सकते हैं, that can be fatal and life-threatening for the passengers. It is important to note that addressing the pilot fatigue is an ongoing process. उसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि collaborations हो, और collaborations में हम ये aviation sector regulators के साथ एयरलाइंस, पायलट एसोसिएशन और जो दूसरे स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, वी नीड टू हैव अ प्रायर कंसल्टेशन, अ प्रॉपर रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म शुड बी देयर, और उन सारे लोगों की बात सुन करके एक ऐसी पॉलिसी डिवाइस करने की जरूरत है दैट शुड हेल्प द पार्ट ऑफ द पायलट्स एंड इवन हेल्प द इंडस्ट्रीज. So this is something very important that has to be incorporated. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option was B. For second question, the correct option was C. Today's MCQ for practice, that is interstate transmission system. Consider the following statement. It's supposed to re-establish the existing interstate connectivity and open access framework. This seeks to do away with the predetermined point to transition access. Now the second question of the day, that is Acclaim Model Residential School. It was established by the Union Ministry for Education. They started in 1978 to provide quality educations to the scheduled tribe. So do check out for the correct option. There are a lot of other platforms that we are coming up with the questions on daily basis. This was for today's daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, queries about the test series, admissions and the courses, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching.